My name is Jeffrey Sutherland. I'm a lead program manager in the Windows OS security team, and my team developed a set of scenarios related to application control that we're going to talk about today. Windows Defender Application Control was actually originally introduced with the first release of Windows 10 under the name Device Guard. It was a component of Device Guard. We, after several releases, decided we would actually separate it out from the rest of Device Guard and treat it as a separate scenario of its own, because the components of Device Guard really are separate. Application control is all about shifting time on your Windows devices from one where applications are essentially trusted by default, unless known to be bad and blocked by anti-malware solutions, to a paradigm where applications are untrusted unless you have explicitly authorized them through what's colloquially referred to as a whitelist. We've long had a application control technology in Windows called AppLocker. When that was introduced in Windows 7, it was designed to be a management solution, and so it wasn't treated as a security product from the purposes of Microsoft's security engineering. And so with application control, when we introduced it, we actually wanted to build it from the ground up as a truly secure solution that can provide security guarantees about the devices configured in this way. Despite recommendations from almost every governmental agency in the world that application control is a preferred way to prevent malware from being able to compromise your systems, very few organizations have achieved that. Our estimates are that about 80% of Microsoft customers use no form of application control whatsoever. This is from both telemetry data as well as interviews and qualitative studies with actual customers. As a result, all of these customers are relying on reactive malware detection to be able to protect their systems. So what we want to do is introduce technologies that allow you to start down that journey and get to a truly secure world. And the first step along that way is the main topic of this session, which is using a technology called the Intelligent Security Graph. And so as beginning with what was the RS3 release of Windows 10, we added the option for you to deploy Windows Defender App Control with this ISG option turned on. And what this does is it uses telemetry information collected from hundreds of millions of devices in the world from various sources, including Bing searches, Office information, antivirus software from Windows Defender Antivirus, as well as from Windows Defender Smart Screen, collects all that information and uses those sources of intelligence to tell us what software is reputable and things that you could reasonably trust to run in your environment. And we use that as a starting bar for application control. So imagine going from a world where you're trusting everything to one where it has to be passing this bar of reputable software. It's a huge step up from nothing. So we integrated the ISG option with Microsoft Intune. And whenever you're approaching application control, it's all about defining, the first step is all about defining what is the circle of trust for your organization. And this is really the hard part for most organizations to get past. With Intune, we start with a well-defined circle of trust that your organization would adopt if you're using Intune's built-in integration with Windows Defender App Control. So the first ring is trusting things that are shipping as part of the Windows OS itself. And so they start from a policy that allows effectively Windows to run and nothing else. When you then turn on the ISG option or the Intelligent Security Graph option, we then expand that circle of trust to include all of the known reputable software in the world. And this makes it very easy to provide your system some assurance and protection from malware. So let's look at how this looks in Intune. So configuring application control in Intune is actually quite simple. So here I've gone to device configuration, and I've started a new device configuration profile for this demo. And within there, after selecting Windows 10 later and then endpoint protection as the profile type, there is a set of options for application control. And for building that circle of trust that I just described for Intune, there's literally two options that you have to reason over. The first is, do you want to turn on app control at all? And if so, are you auditing, or are you going to actually configure it to enforce the policy? And then once you make that step, if I were to deploy this policy, it would only support that first ring that was in that previous slide. So it would only allow Windows and nothing else. That's not what I want. So I'm going to actually also turn on the intelligent security graph option for trusting apps with known reputation. Literally, that's all it takes to build that policy that meets the Intune kind of circle of trust. Deploying this to my clients now would lock them down so that things that are unknown or known bad would not be able to run from the beginning. So I have a client here that I've already configured with a policy like this. And what I'm going to start with is actually downloading a piece of software that's unknown, has unknown reputation. So we've never seen it before, or it has been seen sporadically. So, as I said, this builds on the same intelligence that feeds Windows Defender App Antivirus and Smart Screen. And so this actually will first run into the Smart Screen protections in the client. And Smart Screen gets the first opportunity and it says, I don't know what this is, I'm not going to allow you to download it and run it. So I'm going to try to outsmart it a little bit. And I'm going to save it to my desktop. Oh. So I'm a smart attacker. I know that Smart Screen looks at this thing that's called the mark of the web. And the mark of the web can be turned off. So I'm going to unblock this. And now I'm thinking I can run this potentially malicious software. But because we have the intelligent security graph option turned on, Windows Defender App Control prevents this from running as well. Now, that's great, but as an organization, I do have software that I need to get to run on these devices that is unknown from the purposes of the intelligent security graph. We don't release our telemetry to Microsoft's cloud, so it'll never develop that reputation. So one way when I'm using Intune to enable this is actually I have configured it so that my users can actually choose to bypass that Smart Screen block. And the intelligence security graph option for WDAC will actually use that same information. So if your users choose to go past the Smart Screen block, it'll actually allow it to run. So let's go back to, one more time, download this. And I'm going to let Smart Screen intercept it. As a user, I can click More Info. This gives me another option of running it anyway. And if everything works as expected, that app should actually run. Oh, sorry, it was behind the window. There you go. So it actually did run, so that demo app was allowed to run. So it's tight integration between these different features to allow you as an organization to leverage the intelligence of the cloud to actually drive your application control policies. Okay. So for some organizations, that will sufficiently meet the needs of the types of controls you want to provide. Your users are within your organization are primarily working with reputable software coming from sources like Adobe, Microsoft, Google, etc. And so those will come with reputation that allow them to run. And again, we actually have hundreds of millions of samples of binaries and applications that feed this. So we know of hundreds of millions of quote-unquote reputable applications. However, as an organization, the integration with SmartScreen to allow for your LOB apps and for distribution of applications that, again, may not have reputation, may not be sufficient. So you might want to integrate with another piece of our functionality we call Managed Installer. Managed Installer is similar to the ISG option, but here, instead of basing the trust decision on cloud intelligence, we're actually basing it off of what is the process that does the installation. So one example is we've integrated with System Center Configuration Manager to act as a managed installer. And so anything that's installed by SCCM would also be authorized automatically on your clients. So from the SCCM perspective, the circle of trust, again, starts from that same base policy, the rules that allow Windows to run, but then it adds an intermediate ring of things deployed through SCCM. And if you are deploying all of your applications consistently through your management solution, whether it's SCCM or another competitor of that, as long as you're deploying it through something that is configured as a managed installer on your clients, those applications should just run, should automatically be allowed by your policy. And then finally, SCCM also integrated with the ISG option. So they have 3 rings that you can kind of achieve. One of Windows plus things deployed through management, and then expanding that out to things that have known reputable software. So I want to show you very quickly the admin experience from SCCM's perspective. And here, again, you can find the Windows Defender App Control section under the Endpoint Protection node in their Asset and Compliance node. One thing to note, SCCM actually still considers this particular feature a preview feature. So you do have to, on your SCCM site, actually turn on and allow for preview features to be available. But creating your app control policy is just about as simple as what you saw with Intune. So here again, SCCM gives you the option of, do you want to enforce or audit only? They also expose a checkbox that applies only for devices that are running prior to RS3 versions of Windows, where it was required to reboot the system before the policy would take effect. Since RS3, you don't need to do that. SCCM then has the Intelligent Security Graph option, and I apologize for the small print. But again, it's just a single checkbox that says basically to leverage the ISG to expand that circle of trust. And then finally, SCCM, because it has a client agent that actually runs, they can create their policy on the client itself. And so you can add additional paths that you want to scan on your clients to actually authorize additional apps. One key thing to understand about this particular part of the SCCM experience is it's a one-time operation performed when the policy is created. So it'll authorize anything that's already in those paths, but anything added subsequently would not be automatically authorized. I'm not going to go ahead and complete it, but that's as much as it takes to actually build an SCCM policy that, again, has those 3 consecutive concentric rings of trust that you can authorize. Now going back to my client, I've again, the policy that I applied here actually also allows for the managed installer option. I'm not going to use SCCM in this particular case, but I've actually also defined PowerShell ISE as managed installer, so just for the purposes of demos. And I'm going to start for this one with a different application. So I have this application called Contoso Expenses. If I were to run that right now, it is unknown to the system, doesn't pass any policy. It actually will block running it. And again, if I copy this manually using Explorer and run it, again, we get blocked by application control. But now what I will do is from my managed installer, in this case PowerShell ISE, I'm going to actually copy that same file. If I can get the keyboard to be recognized. Oh. And I'm just going to overwrite the Contoso expenses that already exists. So all I've done is copy that executable using my managed installer. And now if I run it again, it should actually run. So very simple options for being able to automatically authorize applications, both using cloud-driven intelligence and integrating with our managed installer functionality with SCCM or other applications that you want to trust as management authorities. Okay, so with these options, most enterprises should be able to get to a fairly workable model where they've achieved the kind of level of trust that they want to authorize using positive application control methods. At the end of the day, however, each of these come with some relaxation of kind of the ultimate security promise you can achieve. And so, in addition, we also provide a lot of tools that allow you to build a much more complex policy, but one that actually uses relies upon application code signing and strong roots of trust to be able to actually authorize the applications. These tools have been available since Windows 10, and we have demos available for how to use SCCM, for example, to actually automate the end-to-end process as well. If you decide to go down your own route and build your own policy, your own circle of trust, we ship with sample policies inboxed with Windows that you can use as a starting point, including those policies that I described that provide that inner circle of allowing only Windows to run. That policy is very similar for those of you who are familiar with Windows 10s. It's a very similar policy that the difference with Windows 10s is there's actually some explicit blocks that 10s applies on top of Windows, because Windows actually ships with a lot of things that can be used to bypass code integrity policies. And then scenarios can be automated through SCCM that I refer to as golden systems, so scanning a computer that's already configured with all the applications you want to allow, or what I say is Midas Touch, where you treat every device in your system in its current state as its own kind of golden system, scan it and allow everything that's already on it to run, but then moving forward, only things that would be coming either through your managed installer or authorized specifically through code signing. Please take your time to fill out the survey on this session. I hope you found it useful, and we have a few more minutes, so I can stay up here and answer any questions if people want to come up to me. Thank you.